What is OnlyFans? What is that? Is that just a way for people to share nudes of themselves with people for money? Is that all it is? Pay-per-view porn. But wait, okay, so how does that work though? Like, I'm not even being funny here. It's not like asking for a friend or whatever, but like, I can pay somebody to see them naked, like personally, just for me. Does that not seem a bit weird? Like, there's definitely a line being crossed there, right? Like, if you're doing that, you're getting like a personal nude service to you. That's questionable, right? I would say that's quite. I would feel very uncomfortable doing that personally myself. It's not really that personal? Oh, right, okay. So you can't get like somebody nude that's holding up a plaque that says, "Sips, you're the best," or something like that. They wouldn't do that, or it would cost a lot to do that. I'm sure law-wise, it's like consensual or whatever, but like I'm talking about like morals or whatever. It's just a bit weird, right? No, they do it for money. I get that. I get that, but it's like it's kind of like sex work, right? No? If you're like married or in a relationship and you're taking part in that sort of almost like one-to-one exchange, it's a bit weird too, no? I'm literally on cam for money. I guess. I'm wearing clothes though, to be fair. I feel like the agreement between me and you guys is different, right? I don't expect money from you. I do make money from you, but I don't expect it. I'm not necessarily going out of my way to get it, right? And I'm certainly not I guess I gotta kind of be careful like what I say here. I'm not doing anything that I wouldn't normally do to make money, right? Like, I just happen to be sitting here and playing a video game, right? And that's the agreement. We're kind of recreating like a friends sitting on a couch at each other's house sort of thing, but it's very not like that at the same time, right? I don't know. Maybe it is kind of the same thing, if you think about it. But I feel that there's less of a morally corrupt footprint to it. You know what I mean? Like, it's less personal, probably, yes. What I do is still a service, sure, yeah. I get that, but I still don't see the similarity between... I feel like if you're taking your clothes off for somebody, or being sexual towards them, I don't know. It's a bit... It's definitely different, but I can't... I'm too stupid to articulate how it is different. It's definitely a different service, right? There's definitely some similarities, but at the same time, it feels very different too. There's something very intimate about sharing nudes. Well, I don't really want anyone to see me nude. You know what I mean? I don't even really like seeing myself nude. I look in the mirror at my nude body, and I'm repulsed. And I'd imagine that most people would also feel the same way. That's not something I want to share. You know what I mean? Maybe I'd feel different though if I had like giant melons and like, you know, perfectly manicured vajayjay. Maybe I'd feel a little bit different. Something like OnlyFans, maybe it's because I'm older. It frightens me. And it frightens me because I think it's something that could potentially be used against people in a shitty way, you know? I feel like it's something that's going to come back and eventually hurt people who get involved with that, you know what I mean? I think that's my problem with it. I feel like it's like, now it seems like it's an okay idea or it's fun and exciting or whatever, but maybe in 5 years people are going to be like, what the fuck was I thinking? Somebody got fired when her employer found out? That's a weird one too, isn't it? You gotta like, put yourself in the shoes of somebody who is running a business, right? You run a business and you employ like 5 people, okay? And you do something simple, like you sell soap or something like that, let's say. It's something completely inconsequential. You package soap and you ship it to people, and that's your business. If you found out that one of your employees was like selling nudes of themselves to people on the internet and stuff, it would change the way you thought about that employee, right? But like all sort of like stereotypes and prejudices aside, I would care. I would find it hard to trust that person after finding that out about them. I would think that's a bit off for me. Maybe that's not the right way to think about it. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe you should be more accepting of that stuff, but truly deep down I know I would have a problem with that. Off in what way? I don't know. It just seems a bit I don't know how to describe it. It's only weird because you know what they would look like naked. Well, I suppose so, yeah. I don't know. I just feel like it's like a very sort of almost like a reckless thing to do. I don't know. It's 2020. You're allowed to do that? All right. I guess I'm wrong. That's just how I feel though. I'm not saying that like I hate anybody or, you know, like maybe I am judging people that do that in a way. I wouldn't want my daughter to do that or my son to do that. I wouldn't want them to do that. I would feel really worried if they were doing that. So a lot of people would hate that too, but then these are the same people that are partaking in this stuff. That's somebody's daughter or son that's doing that. So you wouldn't want your own daughter or son to do it, but you're quite happy to throw money at them when they're not your daughter or son to do it, which, you know what I mean? It's a tricky one. I think it's been a tricky one for a long time though, because this sort of thing has existed since the beginning of society, right? There's always been an element of this in some way, shape, or form, right? So no one should watch porn. Not really. Not when you think about it. No one should really. It's not going to stop anyone from doing it, but it is very exploitative, isn't it? The industry is not a great industry, is it? The porn industry, the sex industry, and stuff like that. I'm not saying to stop watching it. I'm a human being. So is everybody else, but it's not great that it happens, is it? It's not a good industry, and it's not good for people to do. I mean, sure, I'm sure some people enjoy it. I mean, it's like anything. I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't enjoy it as well, who are exploited or mistreated or whatever. You know what I mean? I think it opens up a much bigger discussion, doesn't it? We're not really here to solve the problems of the world, are we? It's just a weird thing to think about. I think a lot of this stuff... You know what I find interesting about it? The thing I find interesting about it is that nobody really thinks about these things. They're so sort of accepted or ingrained in our society that it never comes up, right? It's just an assumed or accepted thing that this exists. This exists and that's that. And like, maybe it affects you, maybe it doesn't, but it's just like nobody seems to really care, you know? Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it, but man, people sure do want to watch it. I mean, the appetite is insatiable out there, right? From what I can tell. From what I hear on the street. Whatever is done between two people is fine. If money is transacted, so be it. I agree. If people are consenting to do that and they're fine with it, then that's fine. But I think that there's definitely situations where there may not be that 100% consent, right? Certain situations, and there's... I don't know. So it feels like maybe there's some people who they're not completely on board with what's happening, or they don't realize the long-term effects of what's happening and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm rambling a lot here. I have no problem with somebody consenting to do something that they're comfortable doing, and the person that they're doing that with is also fully on board for it, and they know what they're doing and they're enjoying it or having fun, or it's fine. I'm not saying anything about that. That's your own personal business, whatever. But you can't compare that to a billion-dollar industry that exists just to showcase people f***ing each other and squirting fluids all over each other and stuff like that. There's definitely going to be cases in there where it's maybe not perfectly consensual, or there's some exploitation taking place. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.